Okay, so again, the learning target for today is I can graph a linear equation in standard form. I'm going to switch to graph paper. And we've already kind of touched on this. The big thing here is when we're graphing a linear equation in standard form, we're going to use the x and the y-intercept as the 2 points to graph it with. So let's go ahead and write that down. So we are going to use x and y-intercepts to graph. And in general, that's if we're dealing with a linear equation at all, it's usually easiest to just use the x and the y-intercepts. It's just those 2 points are simple. You get to plug in 0 for one of the coordinates each time. So it makes it a little bit easier. So we're going to use those x and y-intercepts to graph, which means we need to solve for them. Now remember, we're in standard form. That is ax plus by equals c. Let me pull up a couple examples here. Let's do this. So we're going to find the x and the y-intercept. We're going to plot those 2 points, and that's going to be our graph. So here's an example. We'll start off in standard form. Let's go with, and I'm going to try and make these not too terribly difficult. I'll try not to have any fractions in there, but I make no promises. Okay, so here's our first linear equation in standard form. 7x plus 3y equals 21. And what we're going to do is we're going to find the intercepts. And the way we're going to do that is we can make a table. We could do it that way. I'm fine with making a table. And there's only 2 points that we need. I need a point where x is 0, and I need a point where y is 0. That's it. And now I just need to go in and find the other pieces. So let's start off with using an x value of 0. We get 7 times 0 plus 3y equals 21. So we have 3y equals 21. Divide both sides by 3. And we get y equals 7. So that first point is at 0, 7. This is the y-intercept. Okay, the next point, we're going to plug in a 0 for y. Now, normally when we use equations, we don't plug in values for the dependent variable, the y, because the x is independent. That's the one that drives everything. But we want to make this as simple as possible. So we're going to plug in a 0 for the y value. So let's write this equation again. We get 7x plus 3 times 0 this time equals 21. That is 7x equals 21. Divide both sides by 7, and we get x equals 3. And maybe I'll change these to a different color. That didn't work very well. That way we can see the difference here. Those are what we found. So this is at 3, 0. This is the x-intercept. So we found our 2 intercepts. Now we can graph them. So let's go ahead and graph these 2 points, 0, 7 and 3, 0. Here's my y, and my x. So 0, 7. Here is 0, 7. And 3, 0. And this is my graph of this linear equation, except I'm not going to be able to. Close enough. Okay, so here is the graph of that linear equation. And I'm just using those two intercepts to graph it. We only need 2 points to graph a linear equation. Now, my question for you all is, do we need to do another example? Or do we feel comfortable enough to do practice on this? So let's go, I'll do a poll. It'll be yes, no. And the question is, should we do another example? Yes or no? I'll give you all 15 more seconds. Okay, so the results, 6 said yes, 11 said no. So let's try this. Should we do a Kahoot as some extra practice? Yes or no for the Kahoot? 30 seconds. All right, so one more example. And then actually maybe I'll check the assignment real fast just to make sure that they're not throwing any curveballs at me. I didn't check it very thoroughly. Oh, I guess that would be a good one to do, is Kahoot or example. Oh, I did look at this. Yeah, we'll be good to go with those two examples. All right, so this one example, let me get one pulled up here. Okay. Let's go with negative 6x plus 3y equals negative 12. So here is our standard form equation. Ax plus by equals c. And again, we're going to find the x and the y intercept. If you want, you can make a table. It is really up to you how you want to do it. 0 goes in for x, a 0 goes in for y, and we're going to find these 2 points. The first one, a 0 goes in for x. We end up with 3y equals 12. Divide both sides by 3. Y equals, oops, sorry, that's a negative. I dropped my negative here. That is a negative 4. Y value of negative 4. Second solving here, we've got negative 6x plus 3. This time the y value is 0. It's equal to negative 12. This is negative 6x equals negative 12. Divide both sides by negative 6. X equals 2. Okay, so we've got 2 points. We've got a point at 0, 4, or 0, negative 4. This is the y-intercept. We have a point at 2, 0. This is the x-intercept, and we're going to plot those 2 points. 0, negative 4, and 2, 0. Let's move that up a little bit. So the first point was at 0, negative 4. Here is 0, negative 4. The second one is at 2, 0. And we draw our line. There is our graph. Graph the x-intercept, graph the y-intercept, call it good. All right, are there any questions before I release you to the homework? No questions. Okay.